interesting stories that are told in the Soviet Union by their people among themselves, which reveal they've got a great sense of humor, but they've also got a pretty cynical attitude toward their system. And I told this one, Bill, you'll have to hear it again. I told it in the car. I didn't tell this one to Gorbachev. You know, there's a 10-year delay in the Soviet Union of delivery of an automobile. And only 1 out of 7 families in the Soviet Union own automobiles. There's a 10-year wait. And you go through quite a process when you're ready to buy, and then you put up the money in advance. And this happened to a fellow, and this is their story that they tell, this joke. That this man, he laid down his money, and then the fellow that was in charge said to him, okay, come back in 10 years and get your car. And he said, morning or afternoon? And the fellow behind the counter said, well, 10 years from now, what difference does it make? And he said, well, the plumber's coming in the morning.
At least Ronald Reagan could add some humor to a grim situation. Welcome to the bribery tax and you. We may not be laughing at such a joke by Ronald Reagan very soon. Russia, the successor to the Soviet Union, is considered one of the most corrupt nations on earth. It became even more so under Putin. Organized crime is rampant, as oligarchs are able to pay off officials to turn a blind eye to their activities. Putin and his cronies skim billions from the public coffers, resulting in massive graft like the 2014 Sochi Winter Olympics. This also makes foreign investors unlikely to invest in Russian enterprises. Russia has laws against bribery, but they're rarely enforced because of a judiciary that has similarly been corrupted with loyalists and a patronage system. Hungary, led by strongman Viktor Orban, seen on the left here, began its descent into competitive authoritarianism a decade later than Russia, but it is charting a similar course. Hungary slid into permanent single-party rule in 2010. Like Putin and the Russian oligarchs, Viktor Orban and his cronies have become obscenely rich through graft, bribery, and corruption, and people are afraid to report it. $17 billion, roughly 1% of Hungary's gross domestic product, has been diverted by Viktor Orban from independent public universities to a privately managed foundation, the Matthias Corvinus Collegium, or MCC, which is touted as a way to serve as a training ground for future nationalistic generations. Bribery is seen by much of the public as a requirement to get decent medical care, though laws are being passed to give the impression that the government is acting against bribery. Orban has moved also to neuter the courts. Well, this all is a corruption tax, and we had a taste of it under 4 years of Donald Trump. The Trump administration was rife with nepotism and cronyism. Positions were filled not by qualified people, but by people loyal to the president and the party. The entire administration was filled with conflicts of interest, cabinet members profiting off their positions and abusing the system. The lone legislative achievement for the Trump administration was rolling back taxes for the wealthy, and the Trump cabinet consisted of 17 millionaires, including one billionaire whose net worth totaled over $3.2 billion. Trump's administration was one of the best things to happen to the pharmaceutical industry. Inspector generals intended to be independent watchdogs guarding against corruption in government were systematically undermined as well. Well, what will a totalitarian government and society mean to you and your family on a day-to-day basis? Well, there'll be less money for basic health care, medical research, schools, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, etc. These last three, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, are officially on the Republicans' cut list. Trump and his crony, corrupt incompetents want back in badly, and that would start with taking over Congress on November 8th. Don't let them do it, America. It's time to vote in big numbers. Visit the League of Women Voters, lwv.org. Get everyone you know involved. At the League of Women Voters site, lwv.org, you can learn about registration deadlines, to see if you're registered, to find out about polling places, sites, locations, times, dates. It's got to be a massive effort at this point because polls are not looking good for Democrats, the only party willing to be patriots and defend our democracy. And while you're at it, take a look at this book, 20 Who Made America Great Already, period. It's a motivational, inspirational look at people who built this country over 250 years nearly of our experiment in the great American democratic system. It can't end. You can't let it end. If we let it go, if we give in to Trump's authoritarian rule, which will begin with his henchmen if they take control this fall, this November, if we give in, our democracy will be gone and we will not get it back. So it's time to vote. Go to the description below this video. Get more information. Get links for the sites we've mentioned. And please get motivated to vote on November 8th. You'll never have an election day so important in your life. You may never have another election day. Well, thank you.